Hello, welcome. Happy Wednesday. I don't know why I had to think about that. I only ever stream on Wednesdays. What other day could it possibly even be? I hope that you all can hear me okay, and if you can't, you should definitely let me know in the chat right away. Um, if the balance between my voice and what you're hearing on the thing is off, you should also let me hear about that. I want to know if it sounds like shit, is what it boils down to. Apologize that here you can kind of see. Maybe I'm not using the screen real estate to its highest capacity. I just did a very dangerous thing here. Let's see. I guess I can calibrate it in here. I don't have to wait for it to. Just trying to use a little more of the screen real estate for the actual hardware. If I was smart, I would have probably figured this out before I went live, but I haven't claimed to be smart for a long time, not since I was a kid. Alright, that looks pretty good. So, welcome to the stream. At some point we may switch over to looking at some software on my screen, and we'll have to maybe readjust then. In the meantime, welcome to the stream. I guess you're here either because you enjoy hanging out with me or because you have an interest in the circuit rhythm, or perhaps both. You're welcome for any of those reasons, or just even if you're just bored at work and this seemed more interesting than the meeting that you're supposed to be paying attention to. You are also welcome for that reason. My name's Corey. I am the man behind the Ether Diver, or as I like to say, I pilot the Ether Diver. And today we are looking at the circuit rhythm. And, oh, excuse me. Goodness. Oh, sneeze snuck up on me. Sorry about that. We're looking at the circuit rhythm. This is the second time we've looked at the rhythm. Today the first one was just kind of, is my intro. It was basically the day after I got it. I've spent some time with it since then. I made a couple of tracks on it from a January thing. And I have, created a sample pack for it. That's what we're going to talk about today. And yeah, without further ado, let me play you the sample song that comes with the sample pack. Oh yeah, I should announce, in case it's not clear, the sample pack is not just for my own amusement and edification. I created it to release it to you good people. For circuit rhythm owners in particular, it will be hopefully a resource. But even if you don't have a circuit rhythm, if you like some of the samples, it works just fine with anything else. We'll get into that a little later. Okay, let me play you the demo song that I included with this. It's just a little 8-bar loop, and it goes like this. So that's the loop. Now, of course, one of the fun things about this is you can do a lot of performance stuff. Oh, there's actually, here, let me play it. There's two other elements that I currently have muted. Okay. And, of course, one of the fun things about this is you can mute the various elements. Here's our drums. Anyway, I can play with that for a while. That's part of the fun of this machine, is how it sort of reveals how much you can do really with just an 8-bar loop, muting and unmuting parts, cutting parts in and out, adding effects to parts, etc., etc. Yeah, part of the fun of the unit for sure. Okay, so that's the demo song. This is the sample pack I made. Let's go ahead and look at some of the samples, okay? And we'll go into the software side of it here in a minute. So with the Novation circuit rhythm, you can obviously sample directly into it. It's very easy. I'm not going to go over that this time. I'm going to do a separate video on sampling into it. Maybe next week if people are interested, or maybe we'll mix it up, do something different next week, and then come back to it in a week or two. This sample pack was created because I was like, okay, based on my first week or two with the machine, I was like, or I guess really the first month. I've had it for most of January, or yeah, I guess I've had it for most of January and now all of February. So I guess I've had it for like 2 months. Time flies. What can I say? 6 weeks, something like that. But the point that I'm making here is that, or what I'm trying to say is that, excuse me, in addition to just sampling onto it directly, which is obviously very handy, you can, if you're a computer guy, which I think I probably qualify as a computer guy these days, you can also do a bunch of stuff on the computer and load it in that way. So this comes with a piece of software called Components that is specifically for managing Novation hardware of all sorts, not just this. It's the same piece of software manages all of their hardware. I used it to set up the sample pack, and we'll go look at that in a second. But the sample pack was actually created in Ableton and created specifically for this. So just some real quick information. So this sample pack will go up onto my Ko-Fi page after sometime later today or tomorrow at the latest. Hopefully I'll get it up today. I still have to put a little cover art for it and get it all, formatted and write the ad copy and all that shit. But it should be up soon. And in the meantime, I guess I'll just tell you about it, right? You can download it later today, tomorrow, if you have a circuit. If you don't have a circuit, actually all the samples work just fine. It's particularly good. Has very similar requirements as the Digitact, the original Digitact, not the new one, not the Digitact 2, but the original Digitact. It's 8 voices monophonic, mono sampling. I think the Digitact might hold more samples, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. Okay, so let's talk about the samples. I made them in Ableton. Well, I shouldn't say I made them in Ableton. I initially created a bunch of them in Ableton, and then the remainder of the set was just samples I've had laying around. I hope it is all unreleased stuff. There might be a few percussion sounds in there that made it in from a different, from my Sample Lab 1, for example, and I know a bunch of the sounds made it in from a release that I had out years ago, but it was only out for 6 months or something. I pulled it down for a variety of reasons. It doesn't really matter why. I wasn't happy with it. That's what it boils down to. So I pulled it down to, my intention was to tweak it and re-upload it, but I didn't get to the re-upload part, so I just pulled it down. So it's some samples from that, and a bunch of samples created specifically for this. So let's get into that. Samples. Okay, actually, hold on. We're going to go to, like I said, this was our demo track. Let's go to a new project. I have another track on here. I might play that in a minute. And we'll just go to sample. Okay, so this is a new project. Nothing selected, nothing running. So this sample bank is 6 pages of samples. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then 7, nothing here. 6. Okay, so 6 banks of samples, so 48, so 6 banks of 16 samples, right? Yeah, right. So it's 80, 96 samples is in the sample pack. And they are all sample banks are arranged the same way, and so I'll just walk you through it. So the first 5 are chords. You got a major chord, 7 chord, major 7 chord, minor chord, and a minor 7th. Then a bass line, or not a bass line, but a bass sample, and a lead sample. Okay, so that's the top row of each one of these. Then in the second row, you have something like a kick, something like a snare, something like a closed hat, something like an open hat. I say something like because a lot of these are all synthesized drums that I created. None of them are sampled from a drum machine or sampled from real life. They're all just things that I like. Like that's a basketball bouncing off tile floor. So all these drum sounds are stuff like that. And then okay, so something like, and then 2 percussion sounds, and then 2 effect sounds of some sort. So these might be more percussion, or in this case, it's a high and low version of a Hoover. It's a Hoover that I created in Pigments. All of the chords and leads and basses are from, so the top row of all these is from Pigments. Sounds created in Pigments. Some of the percussion is from Pigments. Some of the effects are from Pigments, and the rest are just from various things I've made over the years. So that's okay, so major 7th, major 7th, minor 7th, bass line, or bass, lead. That's the top. Kick, snare, open hat, closed hat, percussion, effect, right? That's the bottom of each of these. Okay, so then the second set, so chords. I'll just show you the minor and the major. You can imagine what the 7 chords and all that sound like. So I made the samples nice and long. I think they're like 4 seconds each. That might have been overkill, but I wasn't sure. What I did, I based them on each being a bar and a half. So a full bar, like a whole note, plus another half bar at 120 BPM. My reasoning for this was that for me personally, I might play them at 120, I might play them at 130, maybe even as high as 135. Probably not higher than that. So like 135 would be like a 10%, 12% increase in speed, right? So that's going to make the sample last 12% shorter. Then if I pitch it up at all, because these are all sampled at C, I'll explain why in just a second. So every one of these chords is sampled with the root note of C. So if I need to play a B I guess if I needed to play a B, I could pitch it down. But if I need to play a much higher sample, it's going to be much shorter. And so I wanted to give myself enough room without having to loop everything that I could have a reasonable length of samples for my chords. That was the reason for the basses. And so that's why I went with that 4 second. Again, it's like a bar and a half at 120 beats per minute. Obviously, the percussion samples are very small. It's very short. There are some exceptions, like this is a plucked bass, so there's no... It lasts just that long. And that's like a re-space, so you get like a full, 4 seconds of it or whatever. Right, okay. So then we got percussions here. Kick, snare. A couple percussion sounds. Effects. See, that one's like a metallic percussion hit. It's like another quasi Hoover, super low kind of sound. And we got 3. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. 1, go down to bank 3, major chord, minor chord, bass 1, bass 2, lead, kick, snare-ish, open, closed. Those might be reversed, but whatever. Percussion 1, percussion 2, effect 1, which is here again another kind of percussion sound, and then effect 2, which is like a weird outer space noise. Sorry, I got some allergies maybe. I have my window open. My nose is suddenly running a little and I'm a little congested, so I apologize for that. No one wants to hear or see that, but you know, what can you do? Allergies are allergies. Next bank. Major chord. Minor chord. Bassline 1. Bassline 2. Another pluck. Our lead. Kick. Snare. Closed. Open. Again, ish. Percussion 1. Percussion 2. Effect 1, effect 2. So this is a bottle blow. It's me blowing over the mouth of a Mountain Dew bottle. And then that's like a laser sound. And okay, bank 5. Chord, major chord, minor chord, bass 1, bass 2, lead 1. Kick, snare, open or close, open, perk 1, perk 2, effect 1, effect 2, and this is the last bank, y'all. Major chord, minor chord, bass 1, bass 2, lead, kick, snare, closed, open, again, ish. The further we get away from the first one, the more these in particular become abstract. Percussion 1, percussion 2, effect 1. Effect 2. And that's it. That's actually the whole sample pack. So let's talk about these chords a little bit. So again, these are all sampled at C. This is sort of, so this is a problem that I ran into. This is certainly a known, I don't know, problem is a weird thing to call it. It's a known issue, concern with this style of sampler, with this sampler. Lucky for me, this is one of those times when being an old guy pays off, because I remember how we used to do this back in the day. Sometimes for similar reasons and sometimes for different. So here's the issue, is that the way that this works, like oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's select this lead sound, and then we'll give ourselves a keyboard. Let's make it gated, so it's only going to play as long as we hold it down, and we will open the slope a little so it's got a little fade out. That's what we want. Okay, so here we have a monophonic sound. But this is a so we have monophonic sound. It's a monophonic sound. It's just a single note of a synthesizer played at C, so we can pitch it across the keyboard, and it should maintain the right pitch. But the issue is here, you can't play 2 notes at once, right? So if I wanted to create a chord, what I would have to do was load this up in the same sample in however many of these channels that I wanted. Like let's say I wanted to do a 7 chord, right? Which is one of the chords that's in here. So I'd have to load this into 4 channels, 1, 2, 3, 4, On the first channel, I'd put the root note. Let's say I wanted just to have a chord here that went across the first half of the bar, right? So I would say, and then I'd have to do the gate to here. So that makes this play. See? Let's see here. There we go. Sample is right. Last one on the first. Okay, so then we go to the second channel, and we're gonna pick. Oops. Oh, right. This is 6, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So 2 we go down, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Ta-da! And here we're gonna go sample mode, put it on gated, add a little bit of slope so it fades. Note. Pretty similar, right? Close enough. Okay, so we did the first on there, so we're doing a 7 chord, right? So it's a major chord. Same thing, gate. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. We wanted to do this, gate, this. Okay, so now, there you hear the 2 notes. And so you would just keep doing that until you had all 4. And then you could resample it onto a pad. We won't get into resampling this time because I'm saving it for next time. We have enough to talk about here. Then you would resample that onto a pad, and then you would have your chord on a pad. So what I did is I just cut out the middleman, and I put the 5, most commonly used chords. So there's no augmented chord, or I'm sorry, there are augmented chords, but simple augmentations. There's no like add 9, add 11. Excuse me. Allergies are hitting hard. No add 9, add 11, nothing like that. Add 13, whatever. No super jazzy chords, but I gave you all your 7 chords, your 7, your major 7, and your minor 7. I feel like those are probably the most common kind of chords. And right, so old school sampling, this is how we used to do it back in the day on our Mirage or our EPS or S950 or whatever. In those days we did it sometimes for reasons of polyphony, which is essentially what this is, or workflow simplicity, because quite frankly it would be a pain in the ass every time you needed a chord on this to do that for every chord and then resample them all, right? I mean, it's certainly doable, but it seems easier to me to do it this way. That's why I did this. And okay, so now you've got so you got your 7 chord or your major chord or whatever. Going back here to, let's clear this. Go patterns, clear, boop, boop. I'm gonna empty both those out because I don't want them to be. Okay, so here, basically, what you would do is, let's say you have a chord change where you go C major is the first chord, and then G major is your second chord, and you just oscillate back and forth between those. So this is a very simple chord progression. Some would argue it barely qualifies as a chord progression at all. I mean, if it's just oscillating back and forth, I guess there's not a lot of progress, but a harmonic motion if you prefer to be a little more accurate. And if you know anything about music theory, that's the 1 and the 5 chord, right, of C major. The 1 chord is the root chord, so it's C major, 1 chord. It's going to be C major, and then it goes major in a major scale. You go major chord, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So those are the 7 chords. I did not include the diminished chords because they aren't used that much. If you need those, you will have to build them, or cheat, or I don't know, do whatever. But yeah, so how you would use these, so here you have the major chords. So if you wanted the C and the G, so let's get a note here. So C here, and then we go C, D, E, F, G, right? I didn't actually have to count those. I'm just showing you this is a little keyboard. So it's C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, or B flat, A flat, etc. Yeah, sharps, flats. You know that they're the same thing, right? Of course you do. You're smart people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll put this one here. And we're going to go here and gate, and we want this one to play the whole thing, and here and gate, and we want this one to play the whole thing. That's interesting. What's going on with that? Okay. Oh, I see. I think I have it on micro step, not gate. Sorry, folks. I am by no means expert at this just yet. So let's go gate here, here. Okay. That's just the two chords playing back and forth, right? It's not a very interesting chord progression, I acknowledge. So, now if you needed a minor chord in the middle, or you wanted, the next one to go to a minor chord, then you have to use a second pattern. So for each kind of chord, you're going to have to use a separate pattern, and you could resample them in if you wanted to, but most songs actually have just a couple of chord types. For example, if you're doing something jazzier, you're going to use the 7 chords, right? And so you would either use you might use as many as 3 kind of chords, like the minor 7, the 7, and the major 7. Or maybe you just use you could use 6, 7 different kind of chords, different chords, whatever. The point is, each kind of chord can go on its own track. So you wouldn't have to use more than 5 tracks, even if you used all the chords. And there's probably it's probably a smarter way to do this that I have not quite figured out yet. Because as far as I can tell, you cannot change the pitch of a sample, at least not with the keyboard. You probably could use the essentially parameter locks to put these all on a single thing, where you select the. I bet you can do this actually. I'll try this. We'll come back to and revisit this point instead of me speculating. We'll revisit this point on our next tour, dive, whatever. But the point is, with the chords in here. Put the minor one here. So I think what you have to do is put in a recorded step here. No, that didn't work. So, okay. I said I wasn't going to screw with this, and then I immediately started screwing with it. Sorry. Okay. Point is, if you wanted to... Okay, so let's... So here we just have 1. Let's go to 2, and here we will... select our sample. We'll do the minor one here, and here we'll do the let's just do the 6 chord here. So it's note A there, and then we will put gate there, and so now you have a chord progression that goes between the 1 and the 6 back and forth, right? And yeah, and so anyway, you can figure out how to. It's pretty easy to just come up with most chord progressions. It does help to know just a little bit of theory, although really just the counting parts. And to remember that, so in your major key, you have 1, 3, the 1, 4, and 5 are major. The 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and the 7th is diminished. And then in a minor, you have the 1, 4, and 5 are minor chords. The 2 is diminished, and the 3, 6, and 7 are major chords. So all this stuff this is just the most basics of music theory. If what I'm saying makes no sense to you, it is beyond the scope of me being able to easily explain here. But if you just read the Wikipedia article on what a key is in music theory, and how each major key contains these chords and those chords, and each minor key contains these and those and whatever, and what a diminished chord is and whatever. It just has to do with the way that the keys are combined, the notes are combined within the key. It's very boring, technical, and dry. You don't even have to really understand why if you just understand that that's just how it works. So anyway, those are the chords. That's why I set them up that way. With this set of chords, you should be able to do, at least, stylistic-wise, obviously it's only 6 variations, and they're not even that different. I just picked 6 that I liked. This is very much a proof of concept, if you will, sample pack. Not to say that it's not good, that you won't get some use out of it, but if it's not, it's fairly ad hoc. I made this in about 6 hours from start to finish. And I just literally was going through my pigments patches and being like, oh yeah, that's cool, let's make this. And, figured out what chords I wanted to include. Spent some time deciding if I wanted to, try and include augmented and whatever, higher augmented chords and this and that, and experimented a little bit. But yeah, okay, so I think that's actually enough showing you. Let me show you one other sample song with this same sample set. I'll just play it for you real quick. I did make another track on here. Made this one last night. Same sample set, different samples. But let's just play that one. That's the other sample pack, demo track. That one is not included in the pack. That's just one I made last night after I got this all ready. But let's look at the components software, and we can look at my Ableton session as well to see if we can. I hope this doesn't screw anything up. Or I got this all ready. Okay. Here is components software. This is look at my free software that comes with any Novation session as well. Audio. See if we can. Oh boy, this is probably doing a weird. Hope this doesn't screw anything up. Or I got this all ready. Okay. Here is components software. This is look at my free software that comes with any Novation. I assume that the session as well. Audio just got really wonky. See if we can. Oh boy, this is probably doing a weird. My speakers screw anything up. Or I got this all ready. Okay. Here is components software. This is look at my free software that comes with any Novation. I assume that the session as well. Audio just got really wonky. I don't know if this is doubling or not. My speakers screw anything up. I can't. Or I got this all ready. Okay. Here is components software. Doubling on a weird free software that comes with. I'm sorry. We are experimenting here. with
Session
some
audio
different
really
things.
well.
I don't know if this is
or not.
turn my speakers, screw anything up.
Can't.
Here, I got this all ready. Okay.
Here
Let's
is
look
components.
at
Yep.
components.
Software
Doubling on a
is
weird oh, I see.
free software that comes
Hold
with.
on. I'm sorry. This I think I
any
got it figured out here. Apologize. Okay. So I have to keep a window open with to monitor the chat. Although y'all haven't had anything to say again today, so I don't know if chat's still broken or this is just not a very popular topic. But that's okay. It's okay. I do this not entirely for me or anything, but as much for my own education as I do for y'all. And people can watch it on demand too. So, okay, so let me see here. Actually, and I don't think I even need this. Oh, right. Can't click on that. That doesn't do shit. Sorry again. Once again, sorry. Some new tools here. New methodologies for me, and oops, gosh darn it. There we go. Okay. There we go. I apologize. That looks like it's crazy loud. I might have to turn this down a little bit. If anyone wants to let me know how obnoxious that sounds or not, you can do that. Okay, so here is the sample pack. Once again, sorry for the weird adjustments. This is somewhat new to me. Using the software here. Okay. So this is components. This is how I created the pack. There are, down the side here, these are all free packs that come with this. It's things that you can check out on your own. This is the pack I made. See, as you can read here, each of the chords. Industrial drums, whatever. I dumped these into here. These are all, I think I mentioned, they're all monophonic samples. This takes monophonic 16-bit 44.1, and supposedly this will, it normalizes them all. They should all be normalized anyway. I might have missed a couple. I have severe ADHD. What are you going to do? But yeah, so this is the software that you use to set it up. And it's super easy. It's fairly basic, honestly. You just drag and drop the samples onto the squares. You can move them around once they're in here. Once you're all ready, you hit this button here to send it to the rhythm. Mine is not currently plugged in. That's why you're not seeing that active. And you can also apparently download the samples to your hard drive. This is like a cloud-based, as you can see, like cloud-based dealio. And then once they are on there, you can also so you have to keep a SD card in your circuit, right? And then all of the samples go. There's an internal memory as well, and it operates from internal memory, but it uses SD cards for storage, long-term storage. So you load a sample pack from the SD card, and that looks like this. Hold on, let me switch the camera again to. There we go. So here is the view for loading sample. Once you have the sample packs on here. So right now this is the analog pack. This is the one that you might have seen on screen that says Ichi the Filler. It's my first pack that I made. It's just a bunch of random sounds that I had lying around on my computer that I just kind of just throw them on, make a pack. Let's try this out. This is the actual original pack that you see on my screen or saw on my screen a minute ago, and then these two are actually copies of it. One of the ways that you work in this is you make copies of a pack Each pack can have a bunch of projects associated with it, which might be different songs or different parts of a song, different versions of a song. It just depends on how your workflow works. Um, and oh yeah, so one note on this that I did want to make is that if you look over here on components, you'll see that this sample storage is basically full. There's 8 seconds of sample storage left after my kit. This does not leave you a lot of room. And if you just want to use the samples built in, obviously great, 100%, you're set. You don't. What else do you need? I filled the whole memory. Good for me. However, if you are working on a track, for example, and you are using this pack and you have a bunch of your own sampling needs, maybe you have a breakbeat you want to bring in, or a sample of your mom saying clean your room, or who knows, whatever the hell you want to bring in. My advice would be to copy the pack to an empty slot on your SD card, load that up, choose the set of samples that you're going to use. So, for example, let's say you want to use let's just keep it simple. You want to use the brass chords in the verse and the dream states, that's the second set of chords, in your chorus, okay? And you're going to use the verse, you're going to use the major chord, the 7 chord, and a minor 7 chord. And for the chorus, you're going to use the major 7 and the minor 7. I'm just making all this stuff up, but just for the sake of argument. So then what I would do actually is delete. You could leave all of the brass and dream ones in, but I would delete all of the other chords. Those are the big ones. So the top row that's where you're going to get your savings, I guess, as I should just say. This top row, the chords, these are all 4-second samples, right? 4.2, 4.2, 3, 3.5. So yeah, 4 seconds. So you'll gain, like if you were to delete these 5, you regain 20 seconds from those. And these, 30 seconds. So if you needed 2 rows of these, and you just leave them all, but you didn't need the other 3 rows, you get roughly 30 seconds per row you delete, so you get a minute and a half of sampling back by deleting all this. Just a recommended workflow hack that you are probably going to run into. Alternately, you can make your own sample sets. If you downloaded this and brought it into your circuit rhythm, then you could customize all the sets that you wanted in here, and that's totally fine. So I do want to, I guess I should mention the sort of alternate way to get things on, and the way that I suggest with this sample pack is that when you download it, it's going to be a folder. And once you unzip it, it's going to be a folder, and it's going to say it's titled O2 underscore made for us. Okay. And that's because we got sample slot 0. Let's see, what do I have on screen here? Sorry, let me switch this up. Boop. Okay, we're going to switch to, okay, sample slot 0, sample slot 1, sample slot 2, sample slot 3, sample slot 4, or pack 4, I should say, pack 1, or pack 0, pack 1, pack 2, pack 3, pack 4, pack 5, pack 6, pack 7, etc., all the way up to pack 31. So 0 through 31, right? And so you'll receive a file, a zip file, that when you unzip it is going to say made for us underscore O2, or O2 underscore made for us. So what you're going to want to do is take the SD card out of your, here, I'm going to turn this off so I can show you how easy this is. Take the SD card out of your machine. Boop. Okay, put it into your computer. Bring it up on screen. You know what that looks like. I don't need to show you that, right? And then on yours, you'll see, once you bring it up, once you open the drive, the drives are just formatted So take your drive that's formatted. You've already got hopefully a pack or two on there, um, and put it in your computer, and then copy the file made for us, the O2 underscore made for us, onto the SD card. Actually, what I would do is retitle it first and then copy it onto your SD card. So when you pull up your SD card, you're going to see OO underscore name, O1 underscore name, O2 under whatever. If they're made on components, they'll have an actual name. It'll be like made for us, Ichi the filler, analog techno, whatever it is, right? Whatever name comes with it. If it was made by yourself, or made, I'm sorry, made on the machine, so not made in components and downloaded to the machine, but like created on the machine just by sampling into it and whatever. Nothing will have names, and this is what it looks like loading up. It'll just be like 001, it'll have some nonsense computer generated name. So don't be thrown off by that. But what's important is they'll all say 0001, 02, 03, all the way up to your last one. And I think you can skip numbers too. So what you want to do is change the number. So it's currently 02. So let's say I was going to copy it in here, right? So I'm in my packs. So I've got 5 packs on here right now, and it would be my 6th pack, but it's 05 because we start on 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 5. So I would change the file to 05 underscore made for us and copy it onto the thing. Then put it into your thing and load it up, and it'll be there. It's as simple as that. You don't need to do anything else. I think you can actually create packs that way. I'm not going into that. I have no problem using components to create the packs. It's a very simple and lightweight piece of software. It works very well for what it does. I know there's some discussion online of hacking it and just skipping it all together. And I think you can do that. But the reason I'm suggesting doing this is because other than using Novation's, like they have a web service where you can upload your packs and share them with people and all this. I just like distributing things myself. So I'm going to give you a zip file that you can download and put onto your machine. In part because if you don't have a Novation circuit, but you do have any other, like literally any other sampler, whether it's something built into your DAW, Ableton Sampler, for example, or a high-end hardware sampler like Digitac 2 or something like that, or I know the Syntac just got some sampling capabilities, or whatever you've got, these samples will work just fine. They're 16-bit 44 kilohertz samples, 44.1 kilohertz samples, and they'll work great. They'll work great for whatever you are trying to put them into, as long as you're okay with mono samples. I did have to convert everything to mono because this is a mono machine, and I did that actually in a piece of software called Ocean Audio. That's maybe something else we could go into some point. It's just a very basic audio editing program. I didn't do anything fancy. I normalized and trimmed them in there is what I did, and made them mono because they were stereo when they came out of Ableton. So it's a pretty simple process, just very mechanical, very rote. Convert to mono, normalize, save as, trim if needed. Like sometimes if there's a bunch of silence at the end or whatever, just trim it off and then export it, save as. That's it. That's all I did to them. And yeah, so we can also look at the Ableton file. This is the Ableton file that I used to make it. What I did here, you can see, I just have, and these are actually a bunch of the things. These are the samples. So I made this major chord, 7 chord, major 7, minor 7, right? These are the chords. And then here's a C1 note and a C4 note. So the C1's for basses and the C4 is for leads. And I just, one of Ableton's cool new features is that you can, let's see what we have on here. Oops. Glitch hats. That's not a very interesting thing to sample. You can okay, that's nice, right? Friend. Okay. Close window. Okay. You can take, for example, the 7 chord. So we selected that sound and we got a 7 chord. Oh, I didn't even see. You know what? I'll just do a single note because it might be monophonic and I don't want to screw it up. Okay, so we copied a single note, playing a long sustained note, right? And then we're going to say paste bounced audio. And look at that. There's a nice sample already done of the desired length for, and that's how I created all these. I just used these for some of the percussion. I had this C1, C2, C3, C4 sequence, and I would just play it at different notes, different pitches, and whichever one sounded best, I would sample that one. And on a few of them, they, like for example, the low and the high sounded really good, so I sampled both of them. You'll see when you're looking at the titles what's what. Um, and yeah, and so that's what you're looking at here. This is all the samples that I created in there. This took me, it probably took me 6 or 7 hours all told, but a lot of that was like figuring it out. I did it a couple different ways before I kind of settled on this. And then some of it was filling in the last 20 samples, 15, 20 samples. Like the first part of it came really fast, and then I spent like 2 hours tracking down a bunch of samples to fill it out and formatting them and whatnot. So yeah, so that's basically it. I ran a pretty basic chain on these. A little tiny bit of EQ, basically just a low pass or a high pass filter for the non bass sounds, and a tiny bit of compression to even them out, and just a little bit of saturation to sweeten them a little bit for external use, because obviously on the circuit they don't get a ton. You know, you can add more distortion, low pass, high pass, you can do some basic stuff, but you don't have a ton of tonal control on there. So I just wanted to juice them up a little bit before I got them on the machine. Yeah, so this took, like I said, about 6 hours here. Sample pack will be out later today or tomorrow at the latest. I'll put a link, obviously, all over the place. I'll edit this and put a link in the description when it's up as well. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm trying to think if there's anything that needs to be mentioned here. It's worthwhile to call out, discuss, etc. Yeah, even if you don't have a circuit, by all means, download the pack. Like, it's not just for circuit users. I made it because I have the circuit and I wanted to explore it a little bit. But it's certainly not, limited to any of those. Like, it's a bunch of, there's like 40 or 50 percussion sounds, and there's 12 bass sounds, 6 lead sounds, obviously, which you can also play the leads as basses and basses as leads, if that floats your boat. But yeah, there are 12 basses, 6 leads, 40 to 50 percussion sounds, maybe 8 or 10 effect sounds, and all the chords, of course. And that's the sample pack. And yeah, I will probably make some more if you actually watched all this and or downloaded the pack, although I guess you wouldn't know if you just downloaded the pack, and have some thoughts about what I should do for the next one. I'm very open to hearing it, or if I should even bother, whatever. I mean, I probably will, even if you tell me to fuck off, that you're not interested in more of these. I'll probably keep making them because I'm interested in them, and whatever. You don't own me. You're not the boss of me. Yeah, it was pretty fun to do it. I feel like I learned a little bit about the circuit, and it's nice to, if you have one of these things and you're not really quite feeling it, depending on if if you're like a sampling guy, if you're a guy who's like, I take records, I, find break beats, if CD player, record player, cassette player, or whatever is your thing that you put next to your sampler to make songs, tracks of whatever sort, maybe this is meaningless to you, I don't know. For me, when you put a sampler in front of me, I'm like, oh, I need to get some of my synths in there. I need to get some of my, some different chords and whatnot in there. And so that's what I did here. But yeah, and like I said, this is how we used to do it, old school. Because sometimes we didn't have much memory, or sometimes we didn't have, it was. We also had a monophonic sampler or whatever, and so this is the way to do it. You put a sample for each, quick sample for each chord that you're going to use. Pitch them up and down if necessary. A lot of times, like people would just load a major chord and pitch it up and down, and that gives some interesting results. Or a minor chord and pitch it up and down, and that gives you some interesting results. Like playing chords that are out of key and whatnot. Because yeah, if you know a little bit of music theory, if you take a major key, and transpose it up and down, and you'll get different major chords. Like the chords stay right. Um, so if you have a major key sampled in C, and you play it on F, you still get an F major chord. But if you play it on D, for example, so you have a C major chord, and you play it on D, you get a D major chord, but that would not be in the key of C major. So it will sound weird next to your C major chord. You would have a D minor chord, and that's where you would use those other chords. Yeah, anyway. Said I wasn't going to explain that, and here I am explaining it. I would normally say here, hey, does anyone have any questions or anything? But I think I am talking to myself. I know a couple people popped in and out during the thing, but some of these streams are more popular than others, and I guess I'm okay with that. But I'm going to wrap this up now. If you have any further questions, let me know. Next time I pull out the rhythm, I will probably have a synthesizer next to it, and we will be looking at sampling directly from a synthesizer onto the thing. And I guess maybe I could also get like my phone or something with some, we could sample some breakbeats or something like that. I don't really do a lot of that, but we could try it out, see what it looks like. Yeah, and until then, or until next time, whatever next time is, maybe it'll be that, maybe it'll be something different. I don't know yet. We'll see. Thanks for hanging out, those of you that did, which is, I realize basically no one, but thanks for watching on VOD if you did that. And yeah, we'll